Tonight we have highlights from week 11. We have your week 12 middle of the seventh inning updates, and we have your mid-season power rankings. All of this and more in 20 seconds. One, two, three strikes, you're out. Hey, everybody, how are you? Phil Fanatics, welcome to the seventh inning stretch, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. Apologize for that. I get caught up in that song every single time we play it each week. How is everybody doing tonight? Hanley's out there with us. Metric, what's up, my friend? Are you paused or are you parked for the entire night and weekend? It's good to see you on here again, especially since you are first story of the night when we get to it. So last week was our midway point of the regular season of the APBL. I apologize. Tracy out there with us as well. Hi, Tracy. Hi, everybody. Metric is at home. Katie's out there. Both KDBs are with us tonight. Katie Bell, hey, let me know if you want me to look over your team live with us tonight, and I can see what is going on with it. I didn't get a chance to look at it before I pushed the go live tonight, so we can see what happened to it. I'm a little upset, like I said in Discord before we went live tonight. It was like on the way to the stadium, all of my team said, F it, we're not playing tonight, and I've got 4 people that I can't even get into my lineup tonight, and I don't have any backups to put in their place either. So playing the Red Sox this week, which is hence why I've got the hat on tonight. So it looks like they've got a pretty easy Friday night against me, and we'll have to see what the scores look like at the end of it, which we will talk about the week 12 highlights here just shortly. But let's get through those week 11 highlights first. Like I said, Metric is out there. He is leading the first story of the night. We did hit our midway point of the regular season last week. We had 2 Titans collide as the defending APBL runner-up Cincinnati Reds, me, took on the surging New York Yankees. Both general managers made a few bad decisions. Key lineup choices left points on the bench, but in the end, it was the Yankees' depth that proved too much, and they get the win 292 to 280. That extended their winning streak to 3 games and firmly established them at the top of the league standings. And then in a symbolic loss for me, this was my 4th loss of the season, which matches my entire loss total for all of 2024. And we just hit the halfway point. Henley's out there too. Henley, we're about to talk about you next in a very tightly contested battle. The Detroit Tigers show that they are no longer a middle-of-the-pack team, taking down the Atlanta Braves 239 to 231. Tigers earned a gritty blue-collar win against one of the league's elites. It was the closest game of the week, decided by just 8 points, and possibly a turning point for Detroit as they are being pushed into the second half with that win. Katie Bell's out there with us as well. She is our next highlight. They're quietly continuing their campaign for league supremacy right now. They made plenty of noise at the halfway point with a 96-point blowout over the struggling Cleveland Guardians. That win marks the biggest margin of win for the week and keeps the Texans in the conversation among the APBL's elite. In some other Week 11 results, the Orioles snapped a 3-game skid with a 231 to 184 win over the White Sox. Cubs cooled off a very solid Angels squad. Cubs getting that win 301 to 268. The defending champions had a quiet but effective win as they took out the Boston Red Sox 195 to 183. And then a solid win by St. Louis to regain some footing in the APBL. Did I say that right? APBL, I did. Too many daggone leagues, too many daggone acronyms. Cardinals getting the win there, 236 to 216. So now that we've hit the halfway point, we thought we'd take a little bit of time to talk about where some of these teams are at in the power rankings. We are going to highlight the top 4 teams because they are considered right now, with some assistance from some AI folks that are out there. They are considered the Elite 4 right now. So let's get to this screen. Erica out there with us as well. Erica, how are you? So let's get this next screen up of the power rankings at the midway point. So Yankees have taken command of the league, leading in all 3 of the components: total points, all-play win percentage, and the maximum possible all-play points. They, again, are winners of 3 straight. New York has overcome early season missteps and now look every bit of the juggernauts many expected. They currently share an 8-3 record with 2 other teams, and because of this is why they don't have a perfect power ranking right now, but they are still sitting with a 976 power ranking. We just talked about the Texans a few minutes ago. Katie's out there. She's riding a 6-game win streak, an early in the season 6-game win streak, and is sitting with the Yankees, tied with the win-loss points. Their firepower and total points for the year and consistency in their all-play record give them a legitimate claim to being one of the league's best, currently sitting at 2nd with 905 in their power rankings. Reds round out the top 3, pacing with the leaders in both win-loss and total points. Their all-play efficiency keeps them just a step behind, but they remain a dangerous team poised for a deep second-half run. And the Braves match the Yankees and Rangers in win percentage and win-loss points, but a slightly lower all-play rate and fewer total points hold them back, if only slightly. Still, they're firmly in the title contention. They're sitting in 4th right now with 833 points in the power rankings. All right, so let's get to these Week 12 updates. Again, this is at our 7th inning stretch, which is why the title for this show. All of these scores that we are going to show were before today's first pitch between Seattle. Who did Seattle play today? And the Cubs. That first pitch was at 2:20 today. That was Major League Baseball's first pitch. And speaking of the Cubs, let's pull this up for you real quick. APBL's Cubs are tied with the last place Guardians with 144 points currently. Again, all of these points are before the first pitch at the 2:20 mark today. The largest lead at the moment belongs to the Angels, as they are up over the Blue Jays by 76 points. Their score there is 168-92. Closest contested game at the moment is the Rangers over the Tigers. Both of them online right now, both Katie and Hanley out there. Score for that game is 149-129. Team with the most points currently belongs to the Yankees. Big surprise there. None to anybody. They are leading over the White Sox 220-164. And in some of the other top scoring games going right in order, Cardinals are up on last year's champs 139-114. Baltimore Ravens in a surprise lead right now, up over the Braves 136-90. And the final highlight of the week, the Reds are up over the Red Sox 128-75. And as always, we're only 9 minutes into the show. This show is usually fairly short. I got one more thing that I want to try to see if I can show off here. Since Katie was asking what happened to her team today, and a player that came back off of the IL, but she said she did not put him in the lineup because he had a red X on him, but still got -1 point for her. Katie, I'm not sure who you're thinking about, because anybody who has a red X on them is sitting on your bench right now. Was it the catcher for Texas, Hine? If that's who you're talking about. It's the only person I see on your roster right now that's got -1, but they're in the top of the 4th inning. I don't see anybody else who has a final score anywhere that would have gotten you any points, unless you're talking about yesterday's game. So you have to let me know if it's a today game or a yesterday game. Let's see. Rally got 1 on the IL. So Still sitting on the IL, so hasn't been put in the bench. No red X next to them either. And has 1 point. So here's what happens. And you didn't get those points. So here's what happens. Sometimes, even though they have the red X next to them, that means they're not in the starting lineup, but they might still come in and pitch hit. But what's really weird with, I guess you call it Riley, Raley, they did go 1 for 3, which means they did get 3 at bats, and maybe even, let's see, did they have a walk anywhere in there? No. So they recorded 3 at bats. But 1 point on the IL got you no points. That should not have added anything to your total. And as I'm looking across your list right now, you've got one player that has 6, one player that has 1, and one has -1. That equals out to 6, and that's what you've got total for your team right now. So those points didn't get added in there, even if they did end up starting, but you still had them on the IL. Now, what you need to do, though, is if they're off the IL, and I'm surprised that Yahoo didn't give you a red flag saying, hey, you have to make this happen. Now that they're off the IL, you have to get them in your roster. Most fantasy leagues, if you have an illegal roster, will not let you set a lineup. So in this case, it still let you set a lineup, but you did not get that point from them. No confusion. I'm glad you asked, because there might have been some information that I just gave out there to some people who didn't know. We've got a couple people that are coming on board with us who are playing fantasy baseball with us for the first time. Some of them playing fantasy baseball, period, for the first time that might not understand that. Okay, does it? So Metric says it gives you a day to get them in the lineup. Okay, that's good to know, because you know how much I hunt my waiver wire and my team roster, and as soon as they come off the IL, like Ohtani pitching earlier this week, I put him in immediately, not knowing that I had a day. Wish I would have waited that day. I thought it was a pretty dumb idea for them to get his first start against San Diego, knowing that they got some pretty good hitters out there, and he ends up getting me -1. So is what it is. They should have waited until they were playing somebody who I think is a little bit easier target, probably like the White Sox or the Rockies or something like that. But it is what it is. So, hey, that pretty much ends the show for tonight. Our next broadcast is going to be, and my screens are all screwed up since I moved that over. Our next broadcast for us, FSA inclusive, is going to be on Wednesday the 25th, where we will have the Fanatically Real broadcast. We'll talk about the WRL schedule. As you all know, on Wednesday night, we rolled for the doubleheader. We will look over that a little bit tighter, closer, probably have all of that completed for all 4 of the regions. It's already been announced over on Discord what that region number 2 that was still waiting to be branded, even though it was already named the Red Dragons. We will reveal that on Wednesday night as well, and probably some other updates to stuff that we're working on the website in the background. We might be able to show some of that off as well. So in closing, I want to thank you all for watching the 7th Inning Stretch, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions. I also would like to thank our sponsors. We've already mentioned Sport Management Solutions a couple of times during the show, but we would also like to thank the Recast, the official music of the FSA. And if you liked the show tonight, please go out and like, follow, share, subscribe on all of our social media outlets. They're there on the screen for you. If you are, in fact, following us on YouTube now, please set an alert so it will let you know when we're going to go live. Wednesday nights is usually 8:30, but Friday nights can fluctuate depending on East Coast first pitch start times in Major League Baseball. Sometimes that could be 7:05, 7:10, 7:15. So it fluctuates every couple of minutes, or by a couple of minutes. Anna out there with us as well. Anna, how are you? So make sure you follow us on all of these. Make sure you set the alert for you on YouTube. And then remember, we are Fanatically Real. Everybody have a good Friday night. Hit me up on Discord.